Good evening, everyone. Noting the date and time in the presence of the quorum, I call the Boxborough Select Board to order. As we usually do, I'd like everyone who wishes to stand, please do the Pledge of Allegiance with us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. One of the first things we do always is ask for comment from residents on non-agenda items, and I understand we have at least one resident who would like to give his comments to us. Please, Jim, speak up, get up to a mic, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jim Moss from Bicentennial Way. I would like to kind of paint a picture for you as to the reason why I'm here. Imagine that you've lived in town 25 years or maybe 40 years, and you've decided to sell your house. You have a buyer, a purchase and sale has been signed, and you'll notice in the purchase and sale that there's this little clause that says no hazardous waste to remain on the property. No problem. So your first step is to rush down to the, well, not literally, rush down to the website and look up disposal of hazardous waste. Not much there. The DPW lists the fact that we have hazardous waste days once every 2 years. But that doesn't do a person like myself any good because we sold our house. And it's going to be closed on, I believe, August 12th. So we don't have much time to get rid of hazardous waste. So I thought, in the wisdom, I would call Acton, because they have a hazardous waste place there. And they very bluntly told me to call my Board of Health. Whereupon I called the local Board of Health, and they were basically useless. They could not tell me where to bring my hazardous waste. Now, I want to let you know that the hazardous waste does not consist of 1 or 2 jars of this or that and a gallon jar of turpentine. I have 2 pallets of hazardous waste. That's a pallet that's 3 feet by 4 feet, and in this case, 2 feet high with hazardous waste. 2 of them. Finally, I got in touch with Jim Gareffi. And he did some research. By the way, if you search on the town website for disposal of hazardous waste, you come up with 500 hits. None of them apply to getting rid of your hazardous waste. So I did talk with Jim, and he did do a search, and he sent me an email tonight at 4:30 or thereabouts, and he said there's 3 sites that are listed on the state of Massachusetts website for disposing of hazardous waste. One of them is located in Braintree, one of them in Sutton, and one of them in Westfield. But I said to Jim, isn't there a place on Devons that's a lot closer than Sutton or Braintree? He says, you can't go there because you're not a member. The town is not a member. So there's 2 things I want to point out. There's nothing to help the residents in town to dispose of the hazardous waste in off years when you don't have a hazardous waste collection day. It puts a problem with me because August 12th, I'm out of here and I've got 2 pallets of hazardous waste. What am I going to do with it? I can't bring it to the apartment that I'm going to be living in. I'm stuck. Okay, so there's no guidance, as far as I can tell, on the town website to tell me what to do with my hazardous waste. I also called a couple of these things before Jim got back to me, and I was connected to a company in Ohio. and another one in Indiana. This is Boxborough. I don't want to drive out there. My truck is 27 years old. I'm lucky if it makes it from here to my house and back. So, part of my question is, why can't we be members of the Devon's hazardous waste disposal facility to help? Look, I'm not the only person in town that sold their house this year. I'd be willing to bet you there's probably at least 25 sales. And I'm damn sure that almost every purchase and sale agreement has that little phrase, no hazardous waste. Help, because I don't have an answer. I really don't want to drive to Sutton, but on the other hand, in this particular case, I might be forced to. And that presents a whole barrel of problems because my truck is not rated for carrying hazardous waste. I don't have the signage for it. And God help me if I ever hit a bump. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Hey, Bob, just so you know, Ed Kukla was looking into joining Devon's
Yeah.
and becoming a member town.
Right, exactly.
So we're working on it, just not in time for you, I guess. I want you to know, Jim, I had the exact same conversation with a client of mine today, and it's going to go in my basement until hazardous waste day, because that's what I do.
That's okay for you.
I know,
You're
yeah.
staying here.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'll get rid of it at hazardous waste day, but yeah. But Ed is looking into it.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you. Ed, I mean, yeah, when Ed comes here, Ed will be joining us via Zoom, so we'll see if he can give us an update as far as the cost. I know, Chris, I remember we looked into that as far as the cost versus us doing it more often, and I think I'm going to throw myself under the bridge here and say I think we thought that the idea of joining it was going to be cheaper than us doing it more often, but we don't have numbers yet, so I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll let Ed speak to it. I mean, Ed and I thought it was a great idea. We were late in the budget process to bring it forward, which is why we didn't. But it's also just better for people to be able to dispose as needed versus waiting for a pickup and then possibly missing the 4 hours a year that it's available. So, yeah, we'll have to pick that up.
Yeah, it does have the cost, and he can give that to us when he joins the meeting.
You want to shoot him a text and warn him?
Yeah, actually.
Oh,
I can
Ed,
see
you're
him there.
listening. All right, well, then you know.
And so there's a town cost to be a member.
Yeah.
And then in addition, folks who use it would pay, each time they dispose of, whatever quantity it is that they're bringing that.
Okay.
And they would have to transport it up there.
All right, so we'll let Ed update us on that. Thanks. Yes, Jim?
One point I want to make. I'm not really expecting any free service here. I don't mind going to a facility and paying for the waste, okay?
Yep.
Yeah, that's basically what I want to say. Is that what I really need is the access to a place.
Yep, understand. Thanks. Unfortunately, we don't have access today. We don't have the access today, but hopefully we will soon. But
Jim, just to solve your problem, is any of your stuff reusable by somebody else? Or is it like expired trash?
Oh, it's expired, it's
Oh.
carpenters, it's motor
Okay.
oils, it's
Okay.
chemicals.
Just
Yeah.
trying to help solve the problem. Okay.
No, I've already done that, Robert.
The next
One thing, for motor oils, you should be able to bring the motor oils to anywhere that sells motor oil. So if they do oil changes, if they sell like AutoZone, O'Reilly's Auto, any place like that will have a barrel that collects motor oil, used or new motor oil you can bring there. They won't take your paints, but you can at least get rid of the motor oil.
Thanks, Mike. The next item on the agenda is we'd like to happy item is that recognition. One of our team is leaving us. Her BXB-TV producer Sophie Laurie, I might be telling the last name incorrectly. I apologize. Is leaving us, and there's a short item I'd like to read. After graduating from WPI in 2024 with a degree in biochemistry, Sophie decided she wanted to learn more about television and the film industry. In May of 2024, Sophie joined the BXB-TV and has made a very positive difference here in the Boxborough ever since. During this time, Sophie has produced films for the 48 Hours Film Festival and has learned a lot about the industry equipment, modern production styles, and Sophie has televised the Select Board, Fire Station Building Committee, and many other boards, committees, and commissions over the past 2 years. In 2026, Sophie will be starting a new adventure at the University of Oregon as an organic chemistry PhD graduate student. Although she will be on the West Coast, she has agreed to help with virtual meetings if BXB so desires. That woman just keeps giving. We wish Sophie a safe, adventurous journey and a wonderful next chapter in her lifelong learning experience. Thank you, Sophie, for all you've done to support Boxborough, and congratulations. Sophie, you want to come out and say a few words? Don't be hiding in the back room anymore. Sophie, come on out.
I've had a lot of fun working with you guys. So you guys have been great hosts for me to do my job. So thank you for making the hour-plus long meetings very memorable.
That was generous. That was very generous of you.
Thank you, Sophie.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Sophie. Best of luck.
Congratulations and best of luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It was fun getting to know you two.
Next on the agenda is we have an action for budget transfers. I spoke with Tony about this, and I actually have it. I was in the packet, and hopefully the board had a chance to look at it. There was a lot of year-end transfers that had to be done, and while they were appropriate and needed to be done, one of the things that the FinCom was hoping that we could do going forward, as opposed to doing these at the last minute and after the fact, if there was a way, and I understand Tony spoke with Mike and with Hanwha about this, and so one of the things we're looking to improve is the reports that go out of out of Hanwha's office, the accountant's office, the director of finance, to the department managers, and so that they can look at it and saying, hey, we're getting close, or that, you don't have the money here, is there someplace else that you need to put this. So this is a learning curve for everyone. There were a lot. I reviewed them myself with Hanwha and Mike, and I understand Tony did the same thing, looking at them, and again, they were all appropriate and necessary, but Tony just wants to, the chair of the FinCom just wants to see if we can change the process so that we know, that the FinCom knows about it beforehand. And that's my comment. Mike?
Yeah, can I speak to that? Yeah, Tony and Hanwha and I had a good meeting last week and talked about this. And there were two parts to the discussion. One is, should these be RFTs, reserve fund transfers, which can happen anytime during the year, or should they be end-of-year transfers, which can only happen in the last 2 months of the year? And that is, both are legally fine. And I think we would look to the Finance Committee as to their preference on that. So we're going to talk about that more. The other part was something that we can improve on as a staff, and that is communicating these earlier. So Hanwha and I have been talking about many of these end-of-year transfers for 2 to 3 months, and that's where we can do a better job communicating with the Finance Committee and the Select Board about, the ones that we know about coming up, and we will do that. I've made that commitment, and Hanwha has to Tony and the FinCom to do that. So we'll communicate that a little bit earlier. As we're working on it, what happens is that Hanwha and Hanwha specifically, reaches out to each of the department heads to say, I noticed you're running a little short, what do we want to do? And there's a plan coming up for a couple months before the end of the year. But the part we're missing is communicating that with the Finance Committee, and we will do that. And then coming up, we'll have that discussion, I think, after Tony has the conversation with the Finance Committee on the preference, whether it's to do reserve fund transfers versus end-of-year interdepartmental transfers, and we're fine either way.
Great. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? Great. Next one. Oh, wait, I have to move you. Thank you, appreciate it. Let's see. I move to approve the budget transfers as presented.
Second.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's approved 4-0.
Bob, could we do 6E next and let the poor child go home and go to bed? Yeah, you.
Which one?
6E.
6E, sure, we can do, yeah, we can do.
Well, only because there's a lot to do before that one, and I'm worried we'll be way past her bedtime. Sorry.
Yep, we can take 6E out of order. Out of order, absolutely. 6E is about a discussion and possible action for tree management and funding of the Old Town Center intersection of Hill Road and Middle Road. And I'd like.
So long as Ed's.
Yeah, Ed, are you ready to speak, Ed Kukla? On that one, 6E, the trees?
He looks like he's there.
Yep, I'm ready.
Hey, Ed.
Hi, Ed, so can you give us an update and what's going on and where we are, please?
Yeah, I think I sent the board of everybody, I don't know if everybody was copied in on it, the report from the arborist who did go up to the common and tested that there's 5 trees. One of them has a double trunk. So if you want to consider it 6, you consider it 6. And out of the 5/6, he found that 4 were diseased, and that should come down. Now, the homeowner is worried that, you know, once we take down all those trees that are diseased or bug infested, we may have an issue with the one remaining because now it's going to be open to the wind, which I can kind of agree with because they're all kind of protecting each other right now. So, you know, we did go back and forth with the board and with the homeowner, and I deferred to the board because I want to make sure that, you know, they're willing to spend the extra. I don't know, it's probably going to be about $500 or $600, maybe $700 to take that extra tree down. I did get some quotes, and I found that if we took 5, it was about $3,700. If we took 6, it's somewhere in the vicinity of $42 to $44. So my suggestion would be to remove all the trees and even the one that isn't diseased, just so we make the homeowner feel safer that the existing tree won't come down on the house.
So Ed, it's your recommendation, you were kind of breaking up, that we take down all 6 trees, I think it was 6, for the additional $5,000, call it round numbers. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Board, I'll let the board.
Not additional. He just said
Yeah.
Total.
What's
Total.
What's the total cost?
he said it was
that you broke up?
3,500 for the 5 trees.
It's about right around 4,200 to 4,400 if we take all of them down.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, okay.
$4,400
Okay.
for all
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
not an
Yeah,
additional.
yeah, no, yeah.
Is there any plan for replanting? Like
There-
putting something in its place?
We can, I mean, that's, I don't know, you know,
Just
do
money.
you want something, you know, that includes that wonderful Christmas tree as well that'll be removed. So if we plant something that might, you know, be a little more, to me, better looking, and that'll probably, you know, take a while to grow and fill in, then sure. We've done that at the cemetery. We bought some trees to replant once we took down some of the others that weren't doing so well. So that's a possibility.
Ed, how much would, let's say, just two additional trees, how much is it per tree?
To take down,
No, to plant, a new one.
depending on size. So it could be, I mean, we bought the ones we buy for the cemetery are somewhere around, it might be 6 feet tall, somewhere in that vicinity, and they're, I think, a couple $100 to $300 a piece.
Okay, so Ed, should we replace 6 trees with 6 new trees, or should we go like with 3? What do you suggest?
Well, if, when we do take the group of spruces down, there are 3 hardwoods that are in there that are in good shape, and they're actually kind of in between the house and the spruces. So those might grow a little fuller
Yep.
if we give them a chance once all those spruces are taken down. But maybe I would suggest at least putting one, or maybe a couple back in that area where the old Christmas tree is.
Great.
Are you stumping also it, or is that just the cost to cut?
I'm sorry?
Are you guys gonna, is the DPW gonna stump it, or are we hiring someone to stump them?
That's not included, and that would, we could try with our backhoe, but not sure we could pull out those stumps. So some of those are up near, 30 inches. So I'm not sure if we'd be able to do it. So there'd be a pretty good cost associated with that. We could try first. So you're probably talking another, if I had to guess, $2,000 to grind them down. But I can get a better quote tomorrow morning, or sometime tomorrow.
Any other board member?
I just feel if we're gonna do it, we should do it right. Take care of the stumps, whether we grind them, stump them. If we stump them, then we can put trees in their place. But, I mean, it is the old town center.
No, I think I'd like to hold off on hiring a stumping company. Let's see if Ed can stump them first.
Yeah.
I agree with you taking him down.
Let's get them down first.
Yeah.
Let's get them down.
No, I agree, yeah.
There's no need to wait on that.
No, I agree, yeah, I agree. Anyone else? Like,
One thing that you might consider, at least for discussion, is take the 6 trees down now.
Yeah.
Through a reserve fund transfer.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a budget to do this right now, because this was unplanned at the time we put the budget forward.
Sure.
And then we could budget next year to grind the stumps and plant whatever new trees the board, decides would be appropriate. If you want to split it up that way.
Isn't that more of an operational thing and less policy?
I would agree, I agree with Wes.
as far as,
Like, it's not like, we don't go landscaping the town. Like, if they need the reserve fund transfer, then that would just be going to the FinCom. Like,
okay, all
I
right.
think it's an RFP too, and I think just get it done. Don't drag, otherwise it's this time next year before we're doing anything.
Any comments from the audience? Yes, sir.
Can I add something as well?
Yes, Ed.
There was a resident, it just happened to be somewhat of a coincidence at 333 Depot Road. He had concerns about a maple that is in really tough shape, and this thing's got to be 4 to 5 feet in diameter. So I had the arborist look at that, and he had no doubt that one should come down. So this was, over and above the 5,000, and I got a quote for 2,100 to remove that one, and I think we should do that one as well.
And where is that one, Ed, I'm sorry?
333 Depot Road.
Oh, okay.
And
All right.
just to be clear, these are all on town property, right?
They are, correct.
So I've just been adding up, if you add in, taking out the trees, stump grinding if it's $2,000, putting 6 new trees if that's the decision at $200 a piece, and then another 21, is that about $9,700? So, say $10,000 is probably to do the works if that's.
that is between you and the FinCom.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
It's better than the insurance payout if something happens.
Yeah.
Oh, agreed.
No,
Managing liability.
No, I think, I would entertain a motion to take down the 6 trees.
We don't need to make a motion. This is operational, so they would do the reserve fund transfer. I mean, you can make a motion for whatever you want.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's necessary.
Well, I would just make a motion to the town administrator to proceed with taking down the trees, that's all.
Okay.
Well, did
Second?
you want input from the?
Yeah, you want input?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, there was,
I think
yes,
there's a
I'm
motion
sorry.
and a second, but we can.
Yeah,
we can
exactly, yeah.
Get input.
Sorry.
First, I want to say thank you to Mr. Kukla for all your support through this process. Second, I just discovered that we've been ripped off when we've had trees removed in the past. That's incredible, the quote you got for trees that size. But I just wanted to...
I'm sorry, could you introduce yourself? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm Alex Jordan. I apologize. I'm at 429 Hill Road with my wife, Jessica Jordan, here, and Leland Jordan. We're the homeowners who had brought this to the attention of the select board a couple months prior. And, obviously we have nothing to do with the decision-making here. I just wanted to make sure, for the record, a couple things were noted. It sounds like from comments from a couple of you, it's already been established there are 6 spruces, 7 if you count the double leader, just as far as what will be paid for. The report just described 4 that were assessed, but there are 6 total on the town common. The second thing I just wanted to note, again, just for the record, our concern had not been with the health of the tree, the trunk of the tree. It was any of those trees. It was based on one tree in that same cluster having uprooted a whole tree failure in a past year and scraping the side of our house when it fell. So the report, brings further concern because it says that there's a lot of internal decay apparently, but our concern was really with whole tree failure, and there's no description of any soil or root assessment, which may have been done, but there's nothing in the report about that, which should be more of our concern about the trees uprooting due to wind throw in an ordinary windstorm, really, in terms of the one that failed in the past. I think that was all I wanted to note just for the record here.
If Jordan's going to talk, he gets to talk first.
You want to say anything, Leland? Okay, now we're quiet. Should have brought him to the microphone earlier. Thank you so much for your time and attention to this issue. I guess I was just hoping for some clarity on the necessity of the Christmas tree removal, just to understand the risk involved were it to stay, given that other trees in the surrounding cluster were to be removed, just to kind of understand the risk assessment, just in the interest of potentially, understanding whether or not that tree might be able to be preserved, or just to understand the reasoning behind its removal. Thank you.
Ed, the Christmas tree is one of the 6 coming down, correct?
It is, and it was deemed to be diseased as well.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware. Thank you.
Okay, great. Sam, you want to make a motion?
You made it. Well,
Go ahead.
I move to approve the tree management work at both the Hill and Middle Road location and the Depot Road location, contingent upon funding.
I'll second that. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That's, anyone, any nays? Any abstentions? That's approved through the 4-0, and Mike will let you handle that with FinCom as far as the funding source.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Ed. Oh, Ed, did you hear that we wanted to ask you about hazardous waste?
Well, do you want to?
Or did you want that on a future agenda?
No,
Maybe later in the.
He's going to be coming back.
He's going to be coming back. We've got
Oh,
other.
never mind, Ed, then, all right.
When am I coming back?
No, hold on, Ed. Tonight, we got other items for you tonight.
Oh, yeah, and I did present that to the board with the costs on April, back in April, to show what it cost if we did it every other year compared to belonging to Devon's. And Bob was correct that even though we pay a yearly fee to join there, to stay with it, we actually save money over the long run compared to having a 10,000 every other year. Okay. And I'm not sure if Mike got it, but I texted him the spreadsheet. I don't know if he can open it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, we had just missed the budget cycle and we didn't add it in at that point, didn't open the warrant, all that good stuff. But yeah, it's the right thing to do.
Okay, great. Alec, would you like to come up and do a presentation about the complete street policy, please?
Jeff, come on outside.
Now, let me give a little bit of history about this. The complete street is a subject that's been a buzzword around town, and there's been people writing to the select board, and I want to make sure that, people who write or call the select board, that that your voices are being heard, and we've asked Alec to give us an update. One of the things that was conveyed to us was that Alec was sending out an email regarding sidewalks on Liberty Square Road, and that is not the case. That is not the case. That Alec did not send out any emails regarding sidewalks on Liberty Square Road. So with that, I'll let Alec take it.
Great, thank you for that, Bob. So I'm just going to get a presentation screen going while I'm here too. But you're going to get a whole deep dive from me on the history of complete streets in Boxborough. I had to make sure I pared it down because I know I can be long-winded, so bear with me, everybody. All right. It makes it really easy to see what it looks like on your screens too. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for your time tonight. I want to introduce myself to the public. I do think you have a couple of people tuning in on this, a couple members of the public even here in person. My name is Alec Wade. I'm the town planner, and I'm absolutely ecstatic to be working with the select board on this to eventually bring back Complete Streets to Boxborough. As you've heard, the town has undertaken this process in the past, but I was equally as excited when Jeff, who's sitting to my left here, first approached me with a potential project concept. As you'll see throughout my presentation, I've been talking about revitalizing the Complete Streets process for Boxborough since I was hired going on 4 years ago now, or I think just over 4 years ago now. And it took a project with a lot of community support and momentum to really kick me into high gear and start bringing this forward to you tonight. So to run through, I'm going to give you a brief overview of Mass DOT's Complete Streets program, what it is, as it is something we haven't talked about in many years. I'm going to give you some local examples because oftentimes we get the question, well, what is a complete street? What does it look like? And then we'll talk about the history of complete streets and the necessary next steps to reactivate this $1 million funding source. So for over 10 years now, Massachusetts, through the Department of Transportation, has been offering the Complete Streets program. This is a funding program that supports multimodal transportation. What that means is walking, biking, running. If you come up with another means of transportation that occurs on or adjacent to a road, it's included too. It's a great source of funding in which 75% of Massachusetts cities and towns are eligible for. They went through a long, arduous process to adopt policies, complete a prioritization plan, and then of those, about 80% of those 75% of communities have gone out to receive funding to the tunes of millions of dollars. We here in Boxborough also went through a process, but unfortunately we have not yet received construction funding. All that said, it does help us when we go out for our first construction application in a while. So, to answer the question, I'm going to take you a quick drive through some of the cities and towns immediately adjacent to us, all towns actually. This is Russell Street in Littleton, and this was just such a project site. And it's an example of what a complete street looks like in a more rural context. So in this case, we're looking at a sidewalk with a narrow roadway while still preserving the treescape. This was highly funded because it serves a network gap where it helped connect people and students to the school system. If we jump over to our neighbors in Harvard, we have Still River Road. It looks a little bit different. As you can see, a wider right-of-way here. You've got sidewalks on both ends. You can see a wider roadway, too, to accommodate both bikes and cars, but without including a dedicated bike lane. You have an intersection here in Acton, which was unfortunately famous only a few years ago prior to this project, when a student was actually struck when they stepped out into the roadway prior to these improvements. The town directly responded to that through this improvement. They redid the crosswalk, they added these rapid flashing beacons, and you can see that they've expanded those bike lanes too to fully protect any bikers, which that has been a historically incident-prone intersection. And then probably the coolest of the ones as I was doing my research, this is both a rural context, but you can see they really got creative here. This is the Old Bolton Road and Great Road intersection in Stowe. They don't have a dedicated bike lane behind us on Old Bolton Road, but you can see that they do encourage bike traffic, and what they've done is they've actually created, through their Complete Streets grant, this nuanced intersection where they provide a better turning angle for bikers, and so accommodating that multi-mode of travel, but without having to widen the right-of-way, take land from abutters, really just finding ways to accommodate working within what we have. And so when you hear me talk about complete streets, I don't want you to think about the city of Cambridge. I want you to think about examples like this, something that's local, towns that have found funding to do projects that would likely work in a similar fashion here in Boxborough. So to take you through our timeline, as I referenced before, in 2018, the town, after a few years of speculation, launched into a Complete Streets process. The funding program had been announced, fully funded, and the town formed its committee to ultimately bring forward Complete Streets to Boxborough. That committee worked very hard. It also relied on membership of the Traffic Safety Committee at the time, and they brought forward funding to do a Tier 2 project, or a Tier 2 process, which is where you prioritize your various local projects. They then brought forward a Complete Streets policy, which is the subject of our discussion tonight. And once everything was brought forward and adopted, They then submitted an application. Unfortunately, several months later, that application was denied, and shortly thereafter, the committee terms lapsed. They were all established for a one-year term initially, and they were not reconstituted after the fact. I will note this does line up with the previous, or a few previous ago, town planners leaving. That town planner had held a Complete Streets 101 or 201 certification, the same certification that I hold, which used to be a requirement for you to be able to make an application. So for a variety of factors, unfortunately, that was when it fizzled out. And then, of course, COVID hits, government totally changes the way it functions, and Complete Streets, like too many other plans or programs in a planning office, went up on a shelf, and it wasn't talked about for a few years. Flash forward to July of 2023, I'd been on the town's roster for about 9 months at that point, and I was hosting a series of public forums, and one of those was Complete Streets. I wanted to start to understand what a complete street was for Boxborough. And from that point forward, I've heard nothing but feedback that we need complete streets, that we need to be more accommodating. While we might not have site control of 111, the main thoroughfare of Boxborough, we have all these beautiful side streets that are rich in neighborhoods filled with older adults who want to be able to be more mobile, families with young children, and various people of different ages that want to be able to get around without having to rely on that car. And while we've made effort to bring regional transit, it doesn't give you that same ability or mobility that you would expect in a community with a higher walkability score. So on the far left-hand side here, you'll see a variety of the different scanned maps and exercises that we did at that public forum. You can see they're just littered with Post-it notes, with dots, with all sorts of feedback that we received. If they were zoomed in any closer, you'd see the big bold handwriting, the underlined statements, the Post-it notes on top of Post-it notes of people echoing sentiments. But this didn't just stop at one public engagement event. This continued throughout a series of engagement events. Ever since, we've been doing a couple a year, and consistently we see emerging themes of people needing to be able to get around better and in different ways. All this is capped off this past year when I was approached by a neighborhood group who is dedicated to bringing sidewalks and other complete streets measures to Liberty Square Road. As I was doing my research preparing this presentation, I looked back at some of the original work that the first Complete Streets Committee did, and you can actually see on the original mapping exercises, Liberty Square Road is just peppered with dots, peppered with comments that look very similar to the same maps that we were preparing. At that point, it was 5 years later in 2023. That need has not gone away. If anything, it's gotten more urgent. But in our current establishment, we're unable to do anything with the program, which is why I'm here before you tonight and why I'm going to ask to come back before you 2 weeks from tonight as well. So to really dive into the exercise here, in your packets you have copies of it. I also have several copies here if members of the public or anyone else would like it, of the town's Complete Streets policy. If you jump to section 6, the implementation section, this section requires that the Complete Streets Committee, who is chaired by a member of the Traffic Safety Committee, should be the ones to ultimately decide our funding applications with feedback from a variety of other individuals and groups. We no longer have a Complete Streets Committee. We no longer have a Traffic Safety Committee. And so this section right here actually blocks town action. So what at the time was a requirement of the process, that you had to have a Complete Streets policy on the books, it's no longer required, but we do get bonus points for having it. It now effectively prevents application and prevents our access to a funding program, which when it was first constituted was at $250,000 a year, and it's now up to $1 million per funding cycle that you apply. This policy is the only thing standing in the way. Our DPW director maintains a fantastic inventory of roads and road maintenance. We see it every year on town meeting floor and in the capital planning process. He does a great job of predicting these things and being prepared. I myself have maintained my Complete Streets 201 certification, which is the higher level of certification, which allows me to work through the various Mass DOT documents that are necessary, as well as work with engineers to estimate these projects and help bring them forward. But I need your help revising this policy. The reason I expect this to be a 2-night process at minimum is that I need your feedback. I'm not just going to walk in the door and say, rewrite section 6 to say exactly this. You, the select board, are the ones who adopted this policy. You are the ones who should ultimately decide what it says next. But I'm here to say it needs to change. Q&A. What do you got?
Great. Do you have anything to say, Jeff?
I'll just add, I approached Alec. My name's Jeff. Jeff Osmond. I live on Liberty Square Road. And I think the original impetus for the project was I moved to Boxford about 10 years ago. And even 10 years ago, I was able to push my children in a little pink car up and down the road and really enjoy the neighborhood with them. And since then, over the course of 10 years, it's not safe. I no longer am able to do that with them. When I wait for the bus, I have to stand 10, 15 feet back from the road because people are flying 60 miles an hour down the road. There's also folks coming to me saying that they are no longer able to bike on the road because there's sections between Depot and Sargent Road that are very, very tight with very, very narrow corners that make it nearly impossible. Further, when I'm even we had a visibility event on the 26th, and it's a common occurrence that I'm driving on the road and have to veer around a teenager on a scooter just on the side of the road. This is incredibly dangerous, especially in the the evening hours. And so I brought this to a couple different folks. Anthony is on the sort of working group here. We have had a number of visibility events. We've talked to a number of folks. We've gotten a lot of input through surveys, et cetera, and word of mouth. And so far we have, in addition to word of mouth from here, we have about 120 households that have responded to this interest survey along the Liberty Square corridor, where I don't have the exact numbers, but all but 2 of them are ecstatic about doing something about Liberty Square Road. And so we're here thinking about what that could look like, not only for Liberty Square Road, but the abutting streets, the neighborhoods, and we know there's some limitations, know there's some hurdles, but we're here and confident that we can hopefully work through it and can address any comments or questions that you have.
Great. I'll take comments from
Alec, in regards to section 6 of the committee, I assume what you're asking for is a revision of the makeup of the committee.
So that's certainly an avenue you could go. You could reconstitute the committee, which would take time. You would have to redevise exactly who's going to sit on it. I do note that there's a risk associated with that. As we saw in 2018, that committee was formed. It ultimately dissolved, and it was unable to take action. Many communities have gone a different route, and they've gone the route of putting it in the hands of the select board, the DPW, or the planning department, and a combination thereof. For example, some towns will do one of those 2 departments is responsible for the applications, the management, but they go before the select board for authorization to make an application. They, as the officials, are the ones that are responsible for it, but the select board retains the checks and balances to authorize an application on a yearly, bi-yearly, or once every 3 years basis.
So the requirement of a separate standing or ad hoc committee is no longer exists.
That's correct. That is not a requirement of a complete streets policy.
And our surrounding towns do it the way that you're describing with this authority going to existing boards or town departments?
I don't know offhand what our immediately neighboring towns do. I can bring that back at next meeting so that you have it as a point of reference. I can speak to when I was in the town of Orange, the authority lay with me in the planning department. The town of Greenfield that I had worked closely with at the time, it lay with the planning department, but they worked hand in hand with the DPW, so the DPW director always had updates to the roads and the spaces they were already working on.
I think well, just for me, and I've said this before to other, department heads and other issues, that having a staff recommendation to sort of go off of from the staff that are sort of working on this stuff day to day, that interact with each other on how this might be constructed. Maybe you want to get Ed's input. Maybe you want to, get Mike and Rajan's input, but having a staff recommendation for how to reconstitute this with some details so that we could respond to it would be helpful. And I think that's, I tend to think that staff is the best place to at least start this conversation.
Yeah. I'm glad this is coming forward. I think I see the same kids on the electric bikes, I'm going to call them now. I would have called it a dirt bike when I was a kid. I also have grandchildren that ride their bike every day on Hill Road. So I nominate Hill Road for number 2 on the list. And as an aside, and this will irritate Wes, but when I was 12 years old, I got hit by a bike. I was riding my bike, got hit by a car on Hill Road, and because it was the 70s, my parents took my bike away, blamed me, and wouldn't buy me another bike. And I went to the emergency room. You didn't sue back then. Nowadays, the town would be sued. You know, it just is what it is. So, yeah. Well, no, I know. Wes is like, why is she telling this story? And I'm like, because I got hit by a car when I was 12, and I haven't ridden a bike since. But anyway, so I think it's a good idea. I don't know what to do about the electric bikes, or the mini bikes is what I would call them, but they're flying, and there's no question people are hauling down Liberty Square Road. So I think we have multiple issues there. Maintaining speed, especially around the corner as you get to Sargent Road, and then you're going to Depot. It's brutal right there. And then finally, I think we're best served by having staff manage it, not volunteer boards, partly because we're having trouble creating volunteer boards now for other topics.
Agreed.
I think you need a lot of public input, and it sounds like you said, what, 120 parties have already, I know my daughter is one of the people that answered the survey. But I think our time has come. My number one concern is the cost, and $1 million isn't gonna go very far, but that's negative talk, right? If we can get $1 million a year for a couple of years, then we're gonna be in better shape. But yeah, no, so I'm all over this, and I would like to see staff manage it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Looking at $1 million grant, it's much more daunting than looking at a $50,000 grant, which are the typical ones that go for planning documents. But I'm sure the town said the same thing just a few years ago when they were eyeing sidewalks along Mass Ave, and we were successful there. And that effort in and of itself will make this neighborhood score more highly, and fills me with even more confidence that even though it'll take a couple applications to get all the way to the top, we're going to get there, and then I'll fulfill the goal of the RecCom of having crosswalks and rapid flashing beacons at Liberty Field as well.
I like it.
I'm all for the minimalist policy, whatever the minimum necessary.
Cut out the red tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, or was another?
I don't have anything at this time.
Ed, do you want to chime in? I saw you still here, and I appreciate you hanging in. You're going to be here for a while. So, Ed, anything on?
Well, I was curious if Ed's here.
Yeah, complete streets.
I know we talked about it in January, but remind me when the Liberty Square paving is slated. Is that 2 years from now or 3? Do you know off the top of your head? Ed, you're muted.
Nope.
Kelly's taking.
Hold on. Ed.
I believe, off the top of my head, I believe it's 3 years.
Yeah, okay.
Are we allowed to like aggregate, like if you won $1 million, if you, all right, win $1 million, are we allowed to aggregate it, or do you have to use it right away?
It's not an immediate use grant, so with the construction on this volume, they recognize that you might need 18 months to complete the work. You can also step these things out. So right now, one of the evaluations I'm doing is in time for an August deadline. Could we and should we file this application? Alternatively, there are other grant programs that might cover the design and engineering costs in the interim. I'm still doing that analysis to determine strategically what's our best course of option for the application. But Ed's inclusion alone of Liberty Square Road in the capital plan makes this a more appealing and attractive project.
What's the application due date?
August 9th, I believe, is the deadline for this funding cycle, and then there will be one 6 months from now as well.
Is it reasonable to think you could get all the work done for an August 9th application date?
Oh, believe me, I can get this grant done real quick.
What are we not going to get done while we're doing this?
Any questions from the audience? Yeah, Becky.
This isn't so much a question as an observation. If people are actually doing 60 miles an hour down Liberty Square Road, that seems to me like a revenue option. Where is our PD, our police department should be sitting there tagging people and not just giving them a warning, give them a good ticket, and let's get some money. I mean, you know, it won't pay for everything, but it won't hurt, and it might stop people from speeding so much.
Thanks, Becky.
That's a really good point.
My guess is the police department knows where the spots are.
Hi, Abby.
Hi, Abby Reap, 205 Old Harvard Road. I am the former chair of the Complete Streets Committee when it existed back in 2018. So just a couple of things. The way it did work, yes, there was the policy, but what we had done was put together a list, and I think, Alex, you did allude to this, a list of priorities. And so we had several different roads that were prioritized. And when the application was sent, it was really up to Mass DOT to choose which project they were going to fund. We just told them what our priorities were. Liberty Square Road was not the top priority. It was actually number 5. That's not to say that it wouldn't rise to the top now, because things certainly have changed. But I think the way the application, correct me if I'm wrong, Alec, the application is still about prioritizing, correct?
No, Mass DOT fully allows you to take projects out of order. In fact, many communities have moved away from the model of submitting multiple projects, and they submit one project independently that they think will score the highest.
Okay, great, great. So that bodes well for Liberty Square Road.
Do you remember the streets you had? I have to believe it was Burroughs.
I have the grid on,
Hill.
I know the number 1 actually, I believe, was Hill Road. There you
That's
go.
because I got hit by a car.
Yeah.
My parents would
And
buy
that
me
big.
another
Do you want to talk again?
I hate that street.
And the other question that I have, if I recall correctly, that the funding is not for design and engineering, it's only for construction, or do I have it backwards, Alec?
That's correct. Mass DOT does not allow you to use the funding for design and engineering costs or right-of-way takings. I will also note, before I forget it, the prioritization plan that Abby was just referencing is on the website. If you actually search Complete Streets Committee, it does still exist as a page on the website, and you can see the prioritization plan as it was originally drafted.
Right. So, that's all.
Thanks, Abby. Next. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Maria Nealand. Again, I'm here for my personal opinion and not one of any board I sit on. So in looking at the committee, because I actually signed, I think I signed this policy, or I signed some document that was sent out about the policy, right? Because I was on the select board. So my only concern is, while I think Liberty Square definitely needs to be dealt with, so I'm not discounting that at all. This committee was able, because it had the 6 stakeholders, and I don't remember other than Abby, but it also had the town planner, DPW director, the police chief, and the fire chief. And so there was a network of people that all kind of chimed in on the importance, or what they were seeing on those streets, right? So I want to make sure that in putting this policy, changing it, however you're going to change it, more of a holistic look. I think Liberty Square is really important, but there may be 2 or 3 other pieces of road, or Hill Road being one of them. Quite frankly, Picnic Street, we could use a cop on that street, the way people drive. There's different. I just want to make sure that we're doing this more holistically, because I didn't fill out a survey on Liberty Square because I didn't see it, because I don't live on that side of town. So making sure that we get opinions from everyone in town as we go forward. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not discounting this as a great project, because I do think Liberty Square needs to be dealt with. But just make sure that over time, if it's going to be in the hands of the planner, it's more of a holistic look.
No, I agree with, I think what I'm looking for is for this group, is to get opinion from the town, but I'm also going to follow up on what Sam said. And I think the select board needs to get input from all of our department managers, from the police chief, from the fire chief, and from the DPW, as well as the director of land use. So I think that we can't make a policy blindly, or change a policy blindly. I agree 100% with what Sam said. When we get input from the department managers, from Mike, that's what we'll act on. Yes, sir.
Hi there, Anthony Cuoco, Liberty Square Road. I just came in support of the initiative for the Complete Streets program. I've got a couple little kids, obviously live on Liberty Square Road, so this issue is very personal for me. And one of the things that I did want to point out is that the sidewalk that was added on 111 has been a godsend for us to be able to comfortably get to the library, the elementary school. I imagine a significant amount of the population, especially on that side of town, it's almost like an artery with Liberty Square Road. And the idea of being able to go, like eventually, if this is the grand scheme for Liberty Square Road itself, from the playground to Blanchard, is a really cool concept to be able to do that safely. And I do have concerns. You see kids, like I said, on the middle of the street going up on their bikes and other things, and obviously there's some other issues to be able, that's not necessarily a town-specific thing there. But anything that we can do to allow for, especially for me, to be able to feel safe walking my kids. I'm very close to Reed Farm. Love bringing my kids over to go for walks because of how safe it is. But I'm always clutching along the way to Liberty Square Road. And sometimes I'll take an extra long loop around like Guggins and Box Mill just to make sure that we get there safely. Especially for when, if you want to ever go out around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the winter, trying to just go on a quick walk, it's basically impossible because you have to really make sure, all right, we're gonna really be safe versus a sidewalk, it's a little bit safer to do that, right? So anything that we can do to provide for those safer community access, I know it'd be awesome to let my kids be able to walk eventually to school or to be able to bike to see their friends, to give them that independence, because we know how important that is for child development. That would be so fundamental. And I think also, it must have to improve property values at some point. So I think even things for folks who may not be thinking in the long term in terms of like the safety issue, there could be some opportunities there potentially. I don't know the market and all that, but I imagine that would be something that's a big selling point as well. So that's all I just wanted to add.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? I don't see any hands raised from the Zoom audience. Does anyone from the Zoom want to jump in or anything? No, I don't see any. That's fine. So Alec, we'll look forward to your presentation in 2 weeks to see how we move forward with this program.
Yeah, absolutely. So my plan at this stage, 1 week from today, so that you have a full week to sit and digest it, is to propose a revision to the Complete Streets policy so you can take time to review it. I'll provide it to you and post it publicly so members of the public can also review the proposed change to the language, and I'll format based on the feedback we received tonight.
Good, excellent. Thanks, thank you, sir. We appreciate everyone's comment. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we're going to bring Ed Kukula back online. Mike, on my microphone. Ed, can you jump in, please?
I'm in.
Excellent. So one of the things we're going to do a discussion on is the item that's come up to us before, and I think we were looking for your input as far as the transfer station recognition plaques as far as names. What I think, and I'm going to speak for myself here, and I'll let the board speak for whatever their comments are, but I think what I was looking for you is that, can we do this? Where would we do this? How would you do this? And things along that line. As far as who, I'm not going to go down the road of whose name would go on it right now, as far as a plaque and with individual names or individual things, because there's a lot of discussion that we've got to have on it. Is it that, does the plaque, a person's name, would the person have to be alive or deceased? Is it just for DPW people? Is it for all town employees? Is it for, just the employees who work at the transfer station? So there's a lot of questions that we need to answer first to set a policy as far as getting a name on a plaque to put on a board, I'll call it at the transfer station. But I wanted to get your thoughts first. Is this something that you would like to see done at the transfer station?
When it was brought forward, I thought it was a great idea. And I think that was involved first naming the transfer station after a past employee, but then evolved into the plaque, which I think is a great idea because there's more than one person that is involved or was involved with how that came about and in the operation and maintenance of it over the years. The plaque to me is probably the best way to go. We do have room on the back of the building where we could put some plaques with enough room for multiple names through the years, and having it back there on that wouldn't get damaged in any way, my knowledge, even with plowing. So I think it's a wonderful idea, and I believe that, like you said, it should be up to residents and more or less decide who should go on that, and when this time comes that you do propose to do it.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I'll open it to the board. Any thoughts? Okay. Becky?
I think the plaque is the better way to go, although when I was talking to Owen about this morning, he said, I retired after 32 years in Concord. There's nothing with my name on it. I get my pension every month. So that's his feelings. He gets his pension, that's what he gets. But if we're going to do it for the transfer station, we should do it for all town buildings, and there should be criteria, and I don't think it should just be up to the public. I think it should be a policy that you guys set you know, if you've worked 20 years in town and retired, or you've worked 25 years in town and retired, or if you've just left after 20 years because you get promoted and go somewhere else, but if you've been here a certain criteria of time, then your name should go on a plaque, and if you want to have them in each of the buildings, that's fine. Have one at the fire station, one at the police department, one here, and one at the DPW. I don't think we should limit it to one department. I think it should be every department. I think you guys need to set the criteria, and then you're going to have to do some history homework, because I know that there are people who've worked in town, you know, who are long since retired, but, you know, like in town hall, I know there are people who've been here 25 years or so at least. Same with the fire, you know, the police department. Jeff Langren retired after 25 years. Brett's retiring in October. We should make sure that everybody gets their due time on a plaque.
Thanks, Becky. Mike.
I have a question. So you mentioned, and Becky just mentioned about, sounds like it would be staff focused, but my question is, would that be something that a resident who has not been an employee of the town also be eligible to have their name on a plaque? You know, let's say they volunteered for X number of years and gave a lot of contributions to the town.
A lot of times they become the Golden Fife and they get their name on the plaque.
Yeah, I agree. No, I think, to your question, I think, Wes, I agree with you. I think if for a resident, it would be the Golden Fife. I think we're trying to identify town employees.
I'm just trying to understand.
No, because these are all the questions when I was thinking about this, that I said, you know, and Becky, I appreciate it. I was thinking of one plaque, but you're right, multiple plaques depending upon where the individual worked. One at town hall, one at the fire.
You might have people who worked, like, you know, you've got people from the Morsons from forever ago who were fire and police and DPWs. You might have to figure out how you're going to make those work.
They get one.
Okay, I don't care, but you got to figure it out.
No, I agree, and that's why I'm saying, you know, we're not anywhere close to doing this. And I think it becomes one of my biggest questions is who's going to decide, you know, do we put everyone's name up to your suggestion of 25 years? Is anyone who got 25, they automatically get up? And so there's a lot of questions still that need to be addressed. You know. Kristen?
So I don't know if I turn this back on or not. This all started because Wes, oh, good Lord. All right, let me turn this off. You know, Wes wanted to memorialize Bo because he was such a big part of the community and we lost him tragically. You know, that's where this came from, and now it's morphed into something 10 times larger. You know, Wes, you brought this forward. What are your thoughts?
I don't care. I mean, I just brought it up to the board, and the board took it in the direction they did.
Okay. All right. Well, I just feel like it's grown into something really big, and yeah, at this point, if we're going to go in that direction, it's going to be us deciding what the parameters are. Is it 25 years of consecutive service within the last 50 years? I mean, honestly, we could be going back. I'm thinking of Rita Bean and like all these people from my childhood that are gone that dedicated their whole lives to this town. So it could get pretty extraordinary.
Well, I think
we should think about this.
Right, and I think that's what I think, I applaud the group that we don't act quickly on this one, because I think if we did it, as you suggested, Chris, just about it, there's going to be a lot of people we're forgetting, and that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to forget anyone that should be recognized for their service to the town.
Sean Fallon has his hand raised.
Yeah, John Fallon, go ahead, please jump in.
Hold on, we have to unmute you.
Hold on, we're getting there.
Thank you for letting me speak. I'm very much in favor of the approach you are now taking and the one that Ed mentioned. There are a lot of people who dedicated a lot of time to the transfer station. Warren Morse is Bo's great guy. Warren Morse came to mind, who basically built the transfer station for the town of Boxborough. We had a landfill, as some of you might remember, and Warren Morse basically, after 28 years, he retired after 28 years. I think the approach you're going in is something I would heartily support. Set up some criteria and then see what you can to figure out who meets that criteria.
Great, thanks, John.
Probably easier to start with employees, frankly, than volunteers, because volunteers are a lot tougher to track.
Yep.
Because employees tend to stay in one department where volunteers go all over the place.
Understand. Thank you, John. All right, we'll table this for now and then get more information as this progresses. Great, thank you. The next one, Ed and Mike, Ed, I'll throw it to you first as far as an update on the transfer station, the mattress and white good fees.
I'm not sure if you have before you a list of some communities I put together that charge for different items.
Give us a
You know,
second, Ed, we can put the spreadsheet up.
1 second, Ed, we're just going to put it on our screen here, please.
Okay.
I think it's on page 55 of the packet.
Yeah, whoever did the spreadsheet, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then I think towards the end of that packet is
I
his
believe Westboro
summary
charges
spreadsheet.
$150 for a mattress. I want to vomit over that one. Shame on you, Westboro, shame on you.
Where's the spreadsheet?
On page 50.
Oh, here it is.
You got it. I think if you went to the trouble to make a spreadsheet, you should show it off, right, Ed?
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Sure.
The summary spreadsheet is on page 64 of the packet.
The third packet.
Yeah, this was an 83-page packet or something.
Yes, you're getting close.
Almost, keep going.
A little bit more. There you go.
Thank you.
Perfect. Ed, we got it, go ahead.
You know, I'm looking at these numbers and they're all over the place. But I do think, you know, we should be charging something for just about everything we take in, you know, that will help support cutting the operational cost of the transfer station. I'm not sure this is, you know, if it's something we should just investigate a little more and bring it next fiscal year. I don't know if it's something that residents might have trouble with if we start this now with really no talking about it except what we're doing right now. Plus, we're going to have to find a way or find out who's going to be giving residents the stickers to be able to bring it up there. You know, it's going to be difficult for staff up there to want, you know, well, they're not going to collect cash for one, that's out, but even checks or something like that, they're too busy. I find that it might be a little overwhelming for the two people that are up there if we start having to have them collect at some form of identification saying that they're dropping this off and then making sure that they do it. So I don't know if we want to table this until the next fiscal year where we can discuss the dreaded fee raises as well, to see if we can't get our operational losses up to at least maybe a break-even point for next fiscal year. Just my opinion, but in the long run, I do think we should be charging something for the mattresses, the electronics, propane tanks, carpet, because that all adds up to bringing in some funding for the town.
Are you concerned that, like, electronics, if you charge for electronics, I would just put it in a black trash bag and throw it in the trash?
Sure.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, you're going to get the scofflaws. Yeah, you're
So
going to get.
I'm curious, Ed, you know, when we talked about this in the spring, you know, I think there was a little bit of an interest from the select board in charging for some of these items, and the feedback was that it was going to be too difficult to administer, I think.
Right.
And I hear you saying now, you know, we should be charging for some of these items, but I'm also hearing you say it's going to be difficult to administer. So I guess what am I missing, or is it really we should do this, but it'll be hard? Do we need to invest in more staffing at the transfer station? Maybe this spreadsheet's helpful to show that a lot of our neighboring and analogous communities are able to lift this up. Maybe there needs to be sort of a second level proposal. Again, I'll put it to you similarly how I put it to Alec, a staff proposal for what we could make this look like.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I was just, do I agree that we need to charge something? Yes, but on the other hand, I do see that, without putting a lot of thought into this, that we have to, work on finding, if this is going to be overwhelming for my staff up there, who's going to be responsible? Is Kim are they going to have to come to Kim and get these, whether they're stickers or a piece of paper saying that they paid, So there is some concern. I've always thought that we should charge something for the items we take in, but I just think it is operationally it's probably gonna put a lot of more burden on my staff as it is. I mean, we're having trouble, not to where it's difficult, but you've heard in the past that we have trouble getting people to buy stickers, and having them try to check every car that comes in for their stickers is a tough thing on its own. So having this might add a little more burden to them, but without at least trying it, I can't say that will happen.
Ed, I just have a real picky question. Where it says electronics, what is, do you know what's classified as electronic? Is a radio, a portable radio, considered an electronic?
People have those.
Yeah, if you look, computers, a printer, anything of that nature. Some communities have small goods, medium goods, large goods. I did include some of that in there in case you wanted to bore yourself to death. But I'm sure these communities that do charge are finding that it's costly to get rid of this once it comes into the transfer station, and they need a way to offset it. Do I think that people will, put it in a bag and throw it in the trash? I'm sure that, happens with things that we don't collect now, but that's something that's extremely difficult to police, and it's going to happen. I mean, there are people like that, unfortunately, that will just either drop it on the side of the road or put it in a black bag and put it in our trash compactor.
So I think, just speaking for myself again, Ed, it would be helpful to have a proposal for some fees for some of these goods and a plan for implementing it for the fall when we do have the dreaded fee debate. Because I think having this information and working this in will be crucial to our thinking of that. So, I would express some interest in moving forward with something along these lines.
A fee schedule.
And
having
it sort of prepared in time for us to make the budget for next year.
So what is, I guess, my thinking, and I'm thinking outside the box here, what is the board's goal in charging the fees for these things? Is it to try to offset what our budget losses are every year? Is it just to keep from having residents take maybe their relatives' things to our transfer station? If you look at, I think I put in the revenue expense analysis with with the packet as well. I'm not sure if it's there.
I don't remember seeing that.
I don't remember seeing that. Ed, if I could, I guess, recommend something for consideration.
Sure.
I think it would be nice to at least, we come back, say, in a couple of weeks with a recommendation, here are proposed Boxborough fees for the board to
For
react
like
to.
6 categories of items.
Right, for
whatever.
those,
Yeah.
and with the goal of at least covering the cost of these items, not necessarily covering, the deficit, or the, what we're taxing for the transfer station, but at least what we're paying, at a minimum, what we're paying to dispose of mattresses, electronics, and these other items. I think that would be at least a good starting point. It may be a little more than that, but I don't think we're gonna cover the expenses of the whole transfer station with that, nor does that need to be the goal. I think we bring in a little bit of revenues, we come back with a one-line recommendation, and then between now and a couple of weeks from now, we go back to these towns that you've collected data from, Ed, and we find out how are they doing it. I would not recommend transfer of any money up at the transfer station. It's too busy, and our auditors would look, poorly at that. Would that should be back in an office setting where we collect that and turn over those. And if we can do it online, even better.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, that's something I could definitely put together, have it to you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I would say, Ed, I think Mike's advice is right. I would also say don't try and meet any potential goal that the board might have around operating loss or other fee structure. I would say try to build something that doesn't necessarily consider that, because I think it would be easier for us to have, here's how much money we could save with white goods and mattresses, and then go from there instead of trying to build it sort of from the back end forward.
Right,
Yeah.
I just agree with what was said. Ed, it'd be the items that, on the, like mattress and box spring, we.
Nobody's putting that in a black bag.
Hey, wait, exactly.
At least I don't think, or if they do, we're gonna notice.
And propane tanks, and car batteries, and couches. Those are the large items. I think I'm focusing on the large items is really what.
The fridges.
Anything, right, a large item, anything large, as CM just said, we're not looking to offset, to cover the whole cost of the transfer station, but just to cover hopefully cover some portion of the cost of what it costs to get rid of those large items, whatever they are.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that anybody would be looking to throw away a car battery or a tractor battery, since they give you like a $20 or $25 core charge when you buy your next battery, so that one shocks me.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of things. First of all, I agree with Bob. Focus on the big stuff that can't go into a trash bag easily, even if people get creative. I also wouldn't spend a lot of time asking these other towns how they do it. We need to figure out how we can do it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Unipay is the way to go. As this has been noodling in my head since I read the packet, is it people go on Unipay, I want to bring a mattress, and they get a sticker in the mail? I don't know. Or there's a sticker waiting for them at the desk. I don't know. If they show up with a mattress, here's a QR code, make your payment, show me your phone that you paid it, and then you can drop off your mattress. I think there's a way to use technology in our favor so the guys don't have to touch cash, they're not responsible, and they don't have pissed off people that they're turning away. So again, I wouldn't waste any time asking these other towns how they do it. It's how do you want to do it?
Right.
Okay.
Because you can spend a week doing that research, right?
Oh, easy.
Well, I was going to ask, these are 10 great towns, but how was this list, how was this research chosen? I feel like if I were thinking about this, I would want to look at other communities that have approximately the same amount of revenue as we do, that have approximately the same number of residents as we do, and don't have municipal trash. And this, I don't know how this list was arrived at, but I only see a couple of communities that might fit all the things I just described.
I just put towns with transfer stations that charge fees.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But I think if you look at what does it cost us to get rid of, I don't know, what do you say, a dumpster? I don't know how mattresses are collected. How much does that dumpster cost? How many mattresses and box springs fit? What's it approximate? And then we charge, we backfill it. And then if you think you're gonna need another staff person, then I think that these fees have to cover the salary of another person that's gonna make sure they've got a sticker or that
A lot of
receipt.
trash. That's a lot of trash.
No, I know, but that's something we have to think about. If Ed is saying for the guys to actually be sure.
Oh, I know,
that,
I hear you saying.
So,
I think we can figure this out without
Yeah.
adding staffing. And as far as the mattresses, we pay per mattress.
do we, okay. Yeah, I don't know. That's
And
what I was
it's-
saying.
and
Why do we
think
just look
right
at what it
now,
costs us?
last time Ed and I talked, it was about $18 a mattress, and that's gonna be going up. So
Yeah.
probably $25 a mattress is about where we need to be, starting
But
to
that's just an
charge.
example.
Yeah.
Again, figure out what we need to make our bills, and if we
Right.
want to be able to come up with another staff person, because then if we can break even and provide better service and take some stress off the current employees, to me, it all makes sense, but that's just me.
All right, thanks, Ed, appreciate it on that one.
Okay.
More to come, obviously, we'll be discussing, we'll be going back to you with, when you're able to gather some more information with Mike's help on that.
Sure.
The next one, Ed, Ed, you can stay on.
This is a big Ed night.
Yeah.
I know. Ed, you can stay on if you want, or I'm not sure. I think Mike's going to handle the one about the Flower Meadow Playground Equipment Disposal. Ed, can you just give us maybe an update or what this is all about, and then I'll ask Mike for clarification.
Yeah, we were just asked if we could help with taking down the flare equipment from the Recreation Committee because it would save them money. I informed them that I believe that's something we could do, but it would have to be done off hours, so there'd be overtime involved. And Mike and I discussed this, and we think that some of that funding might come from the funding that the Recreation Committee got for the removal of the equipment. So all I meant was, was asked to see if the DPW could take it down and save the Recreation Committee some money. So Mike might be able to elaborate a little bit more about the funding.
Okay, great, thanks, Ed. Mike?
Yeah, with the price that the company gave us to, come in with the equipment, take out the old equipment, dispose of it and all, we figured that the DPW could do it for about 1/4 of that price. And it made sense. And then it can all be taken care of before that company arrives. So they're on the site for less time. The town saves money, and we get it taken care of. This has come about because most of that equipment is just gonna be scrapped. When we looked at the swing set, there's some value there. Whether it's, it's like 4-inch steel pipes. So if we scrap it, Ed and I each did an independent estimate of what the scrap metal value of that is, and we came up with, something between $30 to $70, if we scrap it. And the other question is there someone in town that, that this could go to, the swing set? And so Bob and I talked about that. I reached out to town council and to ask, if the town wants to go that, how do we do it without bringing any liability on the town? One is, it's either given away or sold as is.
Can we get indemnified?
The town council.
We'll get a waiver, we'll get a waiver signed.
They would put together a waiver, a legally binding waiver for us to, to nullify any liability to the town. And the other thing is, I have the town's procurement policy, and on the back page of that is what needs to happen to dispose of excess equipment. So the board would need to take a vote, and there's a motion in your packet to declare this as surplus equipment. I think most of it is of zero value, other than anything that's steel that could be scrapped for the metal, or if you could do if anyone in town has an interest in this, you could say, the town's willing to sell it for $100 or best offer or whatever, and then we indemnify the town. So that's
I think that's a great option, and we're going to I'll make a motion at some point that we basically open it up to the town residents. If anyone's interested, get in touch with the administration here at Town Hall saying they're interested in buying it. It's $100 best offer, And that goes for employees, that goes for anyone, any resident, anyone who would be interested in it. And then, based upon the information we get from the best offer, we'll make a decision on how it is, and then we'll have the individual sign a waiver saying it is as is, you take full responsibility for it.
So before we go there, though, is this stuff like in concrete? Like, how is that person that says, "I'd like that for my backyard," going to get it? I think we scrap it. I think that we're just making so much more work for ourselves, trying to sell it for $100, and then we have the problem of getting rid of it. And quite frankly, a waiver is going to mean nothing if something collapses in someone's backyard.
Why is a waiver not going to mean anything?
Because in the court of law, nobody cares that you had a waiver. If someone bought a town swing set and then you know what I mean? I just think scrap it. Why are we doing that? Just get rid of it.
All we need to do is declare the equipment as surplus and let them handle it. Like, I don't think we need to.
But what about time and energy? Like, people are gonna come get it, are they gonna rent a truck and?
I mean, I think that's between Mike and.
If they want it, they'll do it. If they don't want to do it, they won't do it.
But why?
Why what?
Because for timing, let's just get rid of it. Just move it on.
So I'll move to declare the old Flair playground equipment as surplus and authorize DPW director to scrap sell at their discretion.
Oh, I like that. Scrap or sell at their discretion.
Scrap. So if we sell it,
that's their problem.
Well, let Ed decide, but I think it's ridiculous to try to sell old playground equipment.
okay. We have a motion. I will second that. As Wes read the motion, I will second it. Any discussion on that? We will authorize the town, the administration, to DPW to the scrap or sell at their discretion. I will second that. Any other discussion? All those in favor of that motion, please say aye.
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 Aye. That passes 4-0. Thank you very much. Next one is, we have to take an action on the intermunicipal agreement with Littleton Community Television, LCTV. And we have a presentation from LCTV. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I'm Mark Crory. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the Executive Director of LCTV.
Great. Then I'm assuming we've been having discussions between you, with Rajan, Mike, and yourself as far as the intermunicipal agreement. We've had this agreement in place for many years. Is there any changes that you would like to highlight?
Well, we're charging less for our services,
Quick,
which
sign
is
it. Hurry up.
which is good. Basically, we took a deep dive into the formula that we had been using 3 years ago to come up with the 3-year template, and realized that there were some things that changed. And even though health costs and things like that, as you know, in the town went up, some of the things that we were charging for before we found unnecessary. So when we added them all up again, it turned out to be less money than before. So too bad for us, but good for you. But we've been enjoying the cooperation between the two towns, and hopefully we're doing a good job. We do appreciate your feedback. I know we got some recently, which we're taking to heart, and doing some changes. I have to say though, just being in here tonight, I don't get to come too many meetings. Usually we have other staff people to do those. But in 5 or 6 years, look, you used to have just one camera in here, right? And now you've got two-way communication, you've got screens, you've got, the technology is just kind of amazing in the past 6 years, all kind of spurred on by COVID. But, to be able to talk and communicate with your department heads from home. I noticed Ed was in his jammies. So, that kind of stuff.
I wasn't going to bring that up, but that's okay.
Well, the other thing is, in the price coming down, we took out all the flock cameras, so.
Okay, I'm sure that's something that's important. I don't know.
That was good. That was a joke.
Okay.
Flock cameras are a big discussion these days. Does that make it out to Boxborough yet? Not yet, okay. Okay, it's coming, it's coming.
I thought you were serious.
No, I was definitely not serious. I thought I would get a reaction, but I got stunned silence. Maybe we just should sign it.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'll move to approve.
Wait, I just have one quick question. So the agreement, from my understanding, the agreement in the past was 1 year at a time, year by year, is that correct?
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
when I first got here, we were doing fiscal year by fiscal year, and it became very stressful to renegotiate each year, so I brought it to Mark, like, let's do a 3-year IMA going forward. They were amenable to it, so this is the second 3-year IMA we're doing, just going for, just to make things easier on both ends.
So this is the first 3-year agreement with
The
LCD?
second one.
So we already have a 3-year in place?
Yeah,
Right.
the current IMA we're on is a 3-year, and then the goal now is just to continue to do a 3-year IMA.
Great.
So I'll move to approve the IMA between the town of Boxborough and Elton Community Television, LCTV.
I will second that. Any other discussion? Anyone else along the lines? Nope. I'll take a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? That is approved 4-0 as well. Thank you very much. We appreciate the relationship, and we look forward to continuing for the next 3 years.
Thank you, I
If
appreciate
you want
that.
to drop the prices again next 3 years, we'll take that as
Okay,
well.
excellent. And I just want to note, see how I am positioning this microphone? This is
Oh.
probably the best.
We're getting slapped.
Yeah, just a little bit. That's one of the things we got feedback on, was that, well, you don't like to use that word feedback when you're talking about microphones. But that, sometimes people can't hear at home. And I know you have papers out and stuff spread, but what they try to do in the back is turn it up, and that's why you get a little bit of feedback in there, because they're trying to boost the volume to compensate for that. So just kind of keep them down like that.
Good feedback.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great, we're moving. Next discussion, Mike, this is for you as far as the executive summary of the select board workshop?
Yes. So I had sent this to the select board a week or so ago, I guess, and it's in the packet on page 34 of the packet. And it's 2 pages, which summarizes the Saturday that the select board spent with Guided Insights, which is a local Boxborough-based consultant run by Nancy Settle-Murphy. So it was interesting because starting last fall, I floated the idea past each individual board member about having an offsite workshop, and the board was in favor of that. So I started looking around, and I had been in discussions with 3 different consulting firms, none of them close to here. And I know that the library director had done a strategic visioning a number of years ago with the library trustees and the staff there. So I talked to Pejon and asked who she used and who she would recommend, and she said the firm that she used, but it wasn't someone local. And she said, so I told her what I was trying to do, and she said, Nancy Settle-Murphy, she's local, and I knew her, but I didn't know that's the kind of work she did. So she came in. Rajan and I spent I think 3 sessions with her preparing for this half-day session, and then the board spent a Saturday, I think it was June 6th, with Nancy. I came in, kicked it off in the beginning, left, and then came back later with lunch and heard the summary of how the workshop had gone, and it sounded like it was successful. I'll read just a little bit from the executive's summary, but then I think the most important part is to hear back from the board what went well, what didn't, and is this something that should be considered for the future, and if so, what should we change? So basically, the shared purpose that the board came up with was that the board reflected on the motivations that led them to public service, emphasizing civic responsibility, giving back to the community, representing residents, and helping guide the town through a challenging financial period. Members expressed a common desire to be recognized as an open, collaborative, competent, and results-oriented governing body. And then there were some things that they highlighted. They wanted to continue to work on improving meeting effectiveness, set up a framework for decision-making during their meetings and during their time on the board. They wanted to set up a framework for public participation, which they did talk about quite a bit on that day. They talked about processes for accountability and follow-through once they've made decisions. And they established some board priorities using a dot voting exercise. And here are some of the priorities, basically the top 5 that they came up with, was establishing and adhering to a consistent agenda development timeline, improving clarity and purpose for agenda items, reviewing meeting procedures, including the application of Robert's Rules of Order and voting practices. And the last 2 were establishing goals and conducting periodic progress reviews, and formalizing follow-up processes and increasing engagement with town boards, committees, and town staff leadership. And then they had some categories for future topics, and the conclusion in the executive summary states that the workshop resulted in a clear framework for strengthening the select board's governance practices. Members demonstrated a shared commitment to improving preparation, enhancing deliberation, increasing accountability, and fostering transparent, effective decision-making. The outcomes of the workshop provide a practical roadmap for improving the board's operations and strengthening public confidence in the town's governance. So from what I saw, when I returned back to the room after you had a half a day of working with each other and working with Nancy, was that the 2 walls in the library where you held your off-site workshop were filled with flip charts with comments from you, as well as summaries from Nancy, and then you were able to vote with dots and stickers on what was important to you individually and as a board. So I'd like to turn it back to you to comment on what worked, what didn't.
No, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. I thought it was a great session. It's always good to have a group, and if it's a select board, it's fine. If it's any other group, it's fine as well. But for the select board to get together and just in a non-town agenda items as far as how we would like to work together, and I think it's important that we were able to openly speak among the 5 of us and with Nancy in the room and what we want to do better for the town and how we can do better for the town. I think one of the things that I would recommend that is for this executive session is that anytime there's a change in the select board, that they have another one. I'm not so sure it would help have an executive session on an annual basis if the 5 members are still the same 5 members. But if there's a change in any of the 5 members, I think it would be good to have another executive session, just so that new member understands what's important to the group and individuals. That's my point. Kristen?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I was thinking the same thing, but then I was also thinking, it is the same group of us coming back, but wasn't it nice to be able to just have somebody mediate a conversation about what worked and what didn't work in last year and how do we work better moving forward? So I see value both ways. And if someone, you commented, Sam, that you kind of wish we had done this before when you first joined, right? That you made a comment about this would have been nice to know. You learned things.
Oh, yeah.
Where you were like, wait a minute. I've been here for a year and I'm learning this now. So I thought it was well worth a Saturday. And if it's in the budget, I'd love to do it every year. But if it's not in the budget, then definitely when new people join.
Good. Sam?
I agree. I thought it was productive and a good use of time.
Wes?
It's more in line with Bob.
Good, great, thank you. So I think, I think it was a good use of time. I think it was money well spent, and I think we all learned something out of it. And I think that one of the things that is that we need to hold each one of us accountable, and we need to hold Mike, you, Rajan, and Kelly accountable. And, if we assign a task, we need to make sure that the accountability is there for anyone, not just the town administration, but the fire chief, the police chief, and the DPW too as well. Accountability goes both ways, and it's communication is the way that starts off. As long as everybody knows you're going to report on this in 2 weeks, you're going to give us an answer in this in a month. I think it just makes it a lot better so that everyone knows what's expected of them. So I agree with you, and I appreciate you taking the time to organize that. Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciated that Pijan guided me towards Nancy, and although I'd known her from being around the town, I didn't know this was the type of work she did. she actually gave us a 75% discount on the regular rate for doing this work. And I know that's valid because, as I mentioned, I had been communicating with 3 other firms, and this was something, that we wouldn't have been able to do it, until we waited for another budget year, if it wasn't for, for Nancy and working with us, and what we had available for funds. So
Okay, well, thank you, Nancy. Appreciate your citizenship and your willingness to cut your normal fees to help the town that you live in better itself. So thank you, Nancy. We appreciate that. And Mike, this will be part of the minutes as far as the town can see everything from the executive session.
It wasn't an executive session.
Not executive, I'm sorry, not executive session, executive summary.
Yeah, the executive summary is in the packet.
Great.
And it's actually in the packet on page 34.
Good, thank you very much. The next item that I wanted to talk about was the discussion and possible action on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. As people may have known, this came up as a discussion 2 weeks ago as far as where are we with it and why it's needed and so on and so forth. And I became liaison, and I found out becoming liaison, you also become chair of the DEI group. Well, I'm a member of it, yeah, a member of it. Yeah, so a member of it. And so I was able to reach out to the 4 members that were on the DEI group, and 2 of them came back to me with an email saying that they were interested in starting the group back up. One said that person was not interested, and I'm still waiting to hear from the 4th person if they're interested or not. And so I put the invite out for any resident of the town who would like to be on the DEI committee. Please reach out to the select board email. You have that on our website. Just reach out to the select board, and we would love to have you on that committee as well. One of the things that we need to do is the 2 members who said they would like to be get to start up the meetings again as far as the DEI group was a charge. And so I asked Mike and myself, we took a draft, I should say, cut at the new charge of what the DEI is going to be doing. And the 2 committee members saying, we need a new charge, we need a new focus, we need to understand exactly what we're going to be doing if we're going to start meeting again. So I know I asked you, and I was hoping you would have time to look at the charge that Mike and I came up with for the DEI committee. And if you folks, a member of the select board, like this charge and the membership and what we're hoping to accomplish by it, I would ask that we approve this charge tonight for the committee. And then my goal is to, once the select board approves this, then I will present it to the committee itself, and to see if they have comments, if they agree, and if they think these goals are attainable. And if they do, then that's fine. If they want to make changes, then I would bring it back myself back to this committee, back to this board, and suggest those changes that the DEI came up with for this, have the select board consider them. But for now, I'd like to open it up to see if you guys agree with the charge and where the DEI is headed.
I'm curious what is the rush to approve the change? Is there a deadline that we need to meet, or is this something that we can sit with? I'm just, sensitive to the fact that the agenda only went out a few days ago.
I'd like, sorry.
And it's sort of just introduced now in real time. I think, I'm not suggesting we run a full-blown PR feedback campaign, but maybe sit with it, talk about it with our, constituents.
Absolutely, no, I have and I should have mentioned, there is no rush on this. In fact, the next time we were trying to get the group together was going to be September. So there is absolutely no rush on this.
It's a reasonable goal to get it,
right,
rejiggered and reconstituted by then. I think, I certainly don't want to delay anything, but it's the kind of thing I'd like time to sit with.
Absolutely, no, I could appreciate that wholeheartedly.
But other than that, I think your process sounds right.
So that's great, thanks, Sam. So I think what we'd like to do it maybe a month from now, Sam.
We can do it in 2 weeks.
2 weeks is great. Yeah, so if everyone could kind of look at this and we might put it on the agenda for 2 weeks, that we'll take a vote on this as far as the committee's not the committee's, the select board's recommendations on the charge.
Sure. And if any member of the public,
sure,
or a board member or whatever has
Absolutely.
input or suggestions,
Absolutely.
contact you.
No, contact Mike directly.
If you like, I could take the revised charge as Bob has it, and if individual board members want to send any changes to me, I can redline them and bring it back, so at least you've got what you started with and what's changed, so you've got something that maybe the whole board can have some input on. I won't send it back out to you, but then
Right.
it would have those, whatever recommended changes.
I
you
think
have
it's a great
between
idea.
now and
Have,
then.
have everyone send it to you with the red line,
Yeah.
then that's what will be presented to us in 2 weeks, and we'll vote on that. Sam, does that fit your
Yeah.
timeframe?
Yeah, and.
This is a
and
big packet. We're
this
just
is-
looking for the page.
I
Who
don't
knows
even
what
know where
that
we
was?
It's
are.
on page 37.
37?
What
Okay.
page you on?
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Is this, let me see.
So then the charges, you just want.
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh, you know, okay, sorry.
Yeah, if there was a,
I'm just like
if
being the
there
bossy big
was like,
sister, okay?
yeah, don't, hands off my tablet here. If there was some kind of track change version of what we're changing,
Absolutely.
that would be helpful to see, yeah.
Great, that sounds great. No, I'm fully open to it. Like I said, I knew it was gonna take time for everyone to understand what the charge was and what the focus was, and I think, giving you guys more time to look at it, I think it's a great idea.
One question, do you want the track changes to start from this draft?
Yeah.
Or to start from the original from years ago?
No, this one. I wanna start from this one.
No. What's the current charge?
I think he's trying to understand what's changing from the current charge.
Yeah, what's changing from the current charge? What's being proposed to change from
From
the
the
current?
old charge?
From the one
What
that's
is-
still
whatever
there.
exists today.
It's the one that's approved.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, got it.
yeah.
Sounds good. Great.
You changed your mind?
We lost.
Okay. That's it, great. So the next, I appreciate everyone's time on that, and we'll bring that back in 2 weeks. Reports, I will start with Rajan.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give an update to the board on the Voc Tech membership exploration. So I'd gonna be a little bit pretty lengthy on this, but I just wanna go over the background, the history, and the current status of it. So just the update of this report is to just give an update on the efforts that we've made to explore membership into vocational technical school memberships in the neighboring communities. So I just want to talk through some discussions I've had with some of the superintendents and the leadership there, outreach efforts, and then the current status of those conversations. So just as some background, Boxborough withdrew from Minuteman Regional Voc Tech School in 2017, and the big part of that was to avoid overpaying for paying for the new building project, as well as the local enrollment had a decrease, and to reduce the tax burden for the residents, just for rise in tuition and assessment costs. So a big portion of this was guided by the town putting forward a sense of the meeting article a few town meetings ago to express interest in joining a vocational technical school. So a lot of the efforts in this began with evaluating potential regional tech schools that could reasonably serve the residents of the town. So the initial outreach focused on contacting schools that were less than an hour away from Boxborough, with a preference of the location being less than 30 minutes. So the schools that we contacted as a part of this was Neshoba Valley Tech, Minuteman Regional Tech, Assabet Valley Regional Tech, Blackstone Valley Regional Tech, Massachusetts Valley Tech, Shawsheen Valley Tech, and then the Greater Louisville Technical School. So out of all those communities that we reached out to, the one that got in touch with us to explore interest in considering us was Neshoba Valley Tech. So on May 9th of 2024, the town representatives, so it was Kristen, Mike, and I, met with the superintendent, members of the Neshoba Valley School Committee, and the administration. And the meeting included discussion regarding potential membership, as well as a tour of the school and the facilities. So following that meeting, the superintendent requested additional information to assist in evaluating Boxborough interest in potential membership. So some of the information she requested from us was the current enrollment from grades 9 through 12 for vocational technical schools that Boxborough is currently in. 10-year historical enrollment by technical schools. So historically, Boxborough has had students that are in Neshoba Tech, Assabet, and Minuteman Tech. So they requested, sent them information of that. They wanted the 10-year program enrollment trends for technical schools that Boxborough has been in, and they wanted any middle or high school surveys demonstrate interest in vocational education. So once we provided the interest into, once we provided this information to the Neshoba Tech, I had a follow-up discussion with the superintendent on this, and she explained that applications for member communities can continue to exceed available capacity. Non-resident applications would only be considered if all member district students could first be accommodated. And the superintendent essentially said that given the current enrollment demand, the district is not in a position to consider expanding regional membership at this time. So based on these discussions, the next school I reached out to that, and I did a follow-up with them, was Minuteman Tech, and that was to see if they had any interest in considering Boxborough as a member community. They did express that they would be interested in it, but they gave a few caveats to that. So the superintendent over at Minuteman advised that seeking membership must include meeting with the Minuteman School Committee, negotiate admission terms with the district, and negotiate any capital buy-in costs associated with the district facilities and infrastructure. And the town, prior to becoming a member community, must be prepared to fund the municipality's proportional assessment upon becoming a member community. So essentially, for Boxborough to join, we would have to be prepared to pay for the capital costs as well as the assessment on top of that. So just looking at the current status at this time, so Neshoba Valley Tech is currently not pursuing expansion of its membership due to the continued high enrollment demand from existing member communities. Minuteman Regional Tech, it has indicated a willingness to discuss potential membership subject to negotiations regarding admission, financial obligations, capital buy-in costs, and approval under the district's regional agreement.
And so there were only two real options, either Minuteman Tech.
It's one at this point. Neshoba Tech is it.
Oh, okay.
They currently, basically because they have such a high demand with their current member communities, they're not pursuing expanding.
So Neshoba wouldn't consider it at all. Assabet's out and Shawshin's out.
Yeah, so all of them I reached out to said that they didn't have any interest, just because most of the vocational tech schools have a high demand of applications for their member communities.
And the only one that would consider us with
is
all
Minuteman Tech.
Is Minuteman Tech, but we got to pay a whole bunch of money to get back in.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And they said that we're the second community that has reached them about becoming a member community. However, they said that the other community has already essentially put aside a stabilization fund, and they budgeted over the past few fiscal years to build up to their capital buy-in as well as their assessment buy-in. And it seems like they're strongly considering them just because they have the money and they're readily available to join them.
Oh, okay, great. Great, Rizwan, thank you.
And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I can answer them best I can tonight.
Oh, I see a question coming from the floor.
I just want to know, Rajon, did we reach out to Montechusett? They're out, I know that's where Harvard sends their kids. I think it's out like
Yeah,
way out.
Monty
Monty Tech.
Yeah, that's from my niece and nephew.
Yeah, I mean, Harvard sends their kids there, so I know it's a hall. But I just didn't know if you did. Okay, I just wanted to check.
So when we first started looking into this, we did a 1 hour reach.
Okay.
With the preference of keeping our school children within a half an hour. But even going a 1 hour circle or 1 hour commute each way out, he reached out to every one of those schools within that 1 hour circle. And got down to this, and really we were only looking at Neshoba.
Yeah, right.
Who was willing to talk with us originally when Kristen and Rajon and I went there, and now they've since backed away, as Rajon mentioned, just because their enrollment for current communities they can't even fill all those people.
Okay.
So I sent Rajon a bunch of questions because I just All right, and what I was thinking of is that we're looking at some pretty challenging times coming up, both as a town and then as the job world changes, right? So I would like to get an idea, by starting out, if any Boxborough students have been denied the opportunity to attend a vocational school because they couldn't get in. Like, that would be really good. This is all in an email to Rajan. I didn't copy everyone because of open meeting. But then understanding in the past 3 or 4 years, what have we spent? You know, can we get a sense of demand? Like, what I'm trying to figure out is, as we start prioritizing the next couple of years, where we're going. I mean, we want to take care of these kids. We want them to get the education they need to be successful, thriving adults. But what can we afford and what makes sense? So I guess I need to understand the need and the demand, because that's two different things. Demand is different than need. And then what, you know, and again, you might be able to just pull it right up. What have we spent doing out-of-district placement for kids over the last couple of years? And then how does that measure up against what it would cost to rejoin Minuteman? If it's significantly less, no need to join Minuteman. If it's more, we consider it Minuteman. And if we think the demand is going to be growing, which we would need to get from the guidance counselors at the junior high, is it something we have to put together a stabilization fund to plan for the future for these kids?
Yeah, so I just looked back at the last 3 fiscal years. It looks like we've spent, I would say for Minuteman, we've spent about over $500K for the last 3 years for them. For Assabet,
Is that per year or in total over 3 years?
that's total over 3 years.
Okay.
For Assabet, the last time we had a student there was fiscal year 25, and then the same for Neshoba Tech. Those 2 schools, we haven't had students in FY26, and we currently don't have any students in FY27. So the last 2 years for those have been 0. Currently, I would say for this fiscal year, for vocational schools, just adding up the tuition, transportation, and assessment, we're spending about $156,000. That's for this fiscal year, and then last fiscal year is about $213,000. And just looking at, I was looking through the list of member communities that Minuteman currently has that we could comp to. So Dover currently has 3 students that are going to, they're sent into the school. So if you're looking at their combined capital and operating assessment, it's about $259,441. And if you split that up, their debt and capital assessment is $122,898, and then the total operating assessment is $136,543, and that's for 3 students that Dover's sending. So that's probably the closest comp, because we have about 3 students now that go to Minuteman as well.
God, that's a lot of money. Okay, yeah, because that's the way I was looking at it. What's more affordable to be able to offer the opportunity? And I think the bigger thing is, do we think, again, with the change in how labor is going to be rolling out for people, and who knows what it's going to be, will more kids want to opt for Minuteman than a traditional college prep?
Well, Kristen, I mean, if we're not a member community, parents can have their kids apply to any VOTEC in the state.
Right.
And we would be obligated to pay the tuition and pay for transportation, because there was a family who, since we've left Minuteman, applied to Essex Aggie, right? And that's up in Essex, and that's like up in East Overshire. I mean, I can't even imagine the commute. But we would have been on the hook for paying transportation until the parents decided, probably like if their kid wanted to play after-school sports, they would have to go get them Essex Aggie and stuff.
Right.
So they decided not to do that. But parents have the option if their kids can get in, and that's the other, it certainly limits people's options, but they can if they want to apply somewhere. And we then have to, I mean, I don't know, we probably looked at Lowell too, right? So, I don't know how far west you'd have to head, but.
Well, no, that's why I was asking, are there kids being denied the opportunity? Because that would be concerning. I can't get in anywhere, so I can't go to VOTEC because even if I wanted to.
But we don't know.
And then what's it cost? Well, there's got to be a way to find that out. I mean, I would imagine
well, when I was on
the region would know. No?
When I was on FinCom, parents just can apply.
So the region doesn't know if a kid's going to leave for a VOTEC or not?
No.
All right. But then what I heard Rajan say is that we've paid $500,000 over 3 years for 3 kids?
Right.
And if we had 3 kids enrolled and we belong to Minutemen, it'd be $259,000.
Which is more money.
Which is more money. So the wild card is how many kids
Right, so, right.
want to go.
The increase is the capital. That's gonna be
Right.
the.
Right, it's the capital is the killer, because right now, round number, it's $150,000 for the 3 kids is what it cost us for the past, $150,000 per student for the past 3 years is what it cost. $450,000, $500,000.
Yeah.
Where if we were part of the region, it would have cost $250,000, again, round numbers, for each student over the past 3 years. Is that correct?
It'll have been 250,000 for 3 students.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but each year, so it'd be
Right.
$750,000 for
Right.
3
Right.
years.
About $100,000 more a year.
$100,000 more per year.
But, right, but that's saying we only have 3 kids. That's why I go back to how many kids in Boxborough want to go to Voc Tech, how many would go if it was an option. That's what I'm saying, is I'm
Yeah.
just weighing that, and then whether it's something we can afford.
No, and it's difficult to say whether a student wants to go, because there's no feedback from the schools saying, hey, Boxborough, we had 2 students applied, and we don't get that, and they won't give us that.
Right. It makes it hard to make a good decision.
Maria?
And just one more point is, when we were part of the region, there were times when we didn't have students, but we had to pay a minimum tuition.
Right.
This is before the capital, before the rebuild. So that is all the stuff that we looked at, or that the town looked at. I was on the regular school committee at that point, AB. But that's what everyone looked at, was the total cost, because then we were going into construction and we knew there was going to be a capital cost.
Yeah.
So, and we are not the only town that left for that reason, because it was extremely expensive, whether we had a child going or not. And Becky's right, there is no way to tell who's applying and who's not applying. The region knows, because they have an agreement with Minuteman, and they do like these, they do forums for the kids in 8th grade, and then they do a day trip, so they have some idea how many kids are interested in any given year. But I'm not sure with parents could decide the kids want to go to Neshoba or Assabet, because they have different programs. There's no way for us to really know that.
No, and I'm ambivalent. What I'm saying is let's make good decisions, let's gather the information that we can to make good decisions for our children and for what we can afford.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I mean.
Good, thanks, Rajan, appreciate the in-depth information, and we'll try to stay on top of it. Okay, now they can leave. Mike?
Now we're leaving.
The first report is that today is Les and Gladys Fox's 41st wedding anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Les and Gladys, congratulations. 41 years, a blissful marriage. I'm assuming that.
So next, I wanted to give a brief update from Ian. The board had asked for an update on how it went on Pfeiffer's Day with the OSRP.
Mike, what's OSRP?
Kiosk, Open Space and Recreation Plan. And so the planning department is preparing for that. So they did some engagement through the winter and spring. On Pfeiffer's Day, they did some engagement, and the next engagement opportunity is an ice cream social on Saturday, August 22nd. So Ian and I, in talking about this, thought it would be more productive to actually have him come in and meet with the board maybe the end of August or September, so he can give a more robust report on that. But basically, he said it was very busy on Pfeiffer's Day. They had 82 responses on that day using the poster with markers that they were using to gather feedback. And that was on top of the 41 responses they already had from previous engagement events. So they have 123 responses on 18 different topic areas. The strongest areas of interest were farmland preservation, acquisition and protection of additional open space, invasive species removal, protection of the town's heritage and character, and increased climate resilience, respectively. And then we'll find out more from the ice cream social in August, and then Ian will be in to meet with the board and give an update on where they are at that point on the OSRP research.
What can you tell us about the ice cream social?
Nothing other than it's on.
You can tell us,
fair
just
enough.
don't tell Kristen, so that's all.
Yeah.
I'm lactose intolerant, I don't want any.
Yeah, I don't know anything about
Yeah,
it, other than, they'll be serving ice cream to get people in the door and asking people to do dots, probably like they did at the town meeting information night, where they had a number of poster boards, someone.
Have they thought of doing it over at Liberty?
Liberty.
At the playground, under the pavilion? Do it there. Do the ice cream social there.
That's where the
I will
Liberty
find
Square
out
group
where they
did,
have it planned.
Yeah.
to the-
Do you notice how she's trying to get it closer to her house is what she's
I'll
trying.
probably get hit by a car walking to it though, but it's okay.
Kim was out, I think it was town hall trying to find out where they were gonna use the.
Okay.
No, I just thought you might get more participation.
Yeah.
Go to the playground, let the kids play, do the dots, do the dots.
I'll get information from Ian and forward it to the board.
Great, that sounds great.
Next, following on, one of the things you discussed at your Saturday offsite was establishing goals, which you did, and then conducting periodic progress reviews. If you'd like, I could give you a quick summary on.
The quick summary is good.
Sure. So on governance and leadership, one of the things that we worked on was the offsite workshop on financial management. A couple of things we've done in that area, and when I say we, I don't just mean the administration, I mean the board and the departments as a whole. One of the things we've done is stabilize the Neshoba Valley Regional Dispatch District assessment for the next couple of years by bringing on a couple of additional communities. The other thing we've done is DPW, as you heard, is taking on maintenance of some of the public safety vehicles, which has saved a lot of money in both police and fire. Another thing is, in FY26, the town received $1.1 million in grants, which was 16% higher than in fiscal '25. And then in public safety, a number of things you've seen going on recently, the awarding of the AEDs, by vote in May, and those are coming online currently, and they're being installed, and the training is forthcoming. The town has held cooling centers under the leadership of the emergency management director and Burke, have staffed those. And let's see, for infrastructure, we're moving forward with the fire station. Designer selection is done, and we've just now moved into schematic design, which was exciting. For town services, the OpenGov will be coming online in the coming months, with that being passed in May. And then one of the focuses has been on improved customer service, making sure that people are answering all calls and responding to all emails within one day. I think that has been the practice, but we're echoing that to make sure it does happen. Jumping down to communication, we have a website upgrade team, which Rajan has put together with members from boards, committees, residents, and staff for the next update. Let's see. Jumping down to the bottom, intergovernmental and regional collaboration. The regional dispatch is one where we've worked with. We're working with 9 different communities, to save the town money and provide better services. One of the things that I'm personally involved in is something called Muni Neighbors, which is the 11 communities that are surrounding us. In constant communication with them, finding out what are the best practices that I can learn from, and then sharing some of our best practices. So that's a great thing. And then working with our state reps. And then lastly, on the environmental front, we've been posting the Water Resources Committee water testing guidelines for people's wells, and getting that out to the community. And the last thing is working with Oxbow on that pilot program for invasive species. So I just want to give that update, and then we can do that again in several months. And I did email this around to the board. And that's all I have for reports.
Mike, one quick question for you. I know we were, as far as, I don't know what title I want to put on, open on Fridays, the survey, as far as, where do we stand with that as far as additional hours that the residents could come in and talk to people here at Town Hall? It's kind of, we charged you with that. I just want to make it accountable, so I
Yeah, yeah. So the last I saw, there were 25 responses to the survey.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the data is on that exactly.
Okay. So hopefully 2 months you'll be able to make a decision on whether we change it or not change it as far as.
Yes.
Great, that'd be good. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Good.
The respond in 1 day policy that you have.
Yes.
That includes Fridays. Like people are working on Fridays.
It does, for the
Right.
people who are working on Fridays.
Okay. Yeah.
And we do have someone in every department responding, and if.
Sometimes
if
we get emails or feedback from residents that say things like, well, I couldn't get a hold of the staff because it was Friday. And you know, I think I just want to make sure
Yeah.
people know that they're working, they're just not here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And while everyone in Town Hall doesn't work Fridays.
Of course, right, yeah.
But we do have someone in every department, namely all of our department heads, all of our.
Right, so, but if someone calls a department on a Thursday, they'll get a call back on a Friday.
Right, and if they call in on Friday, they'll get a response either the same day or by Monday.
Right.
Yeah, and I, you know, the goal is not to wait a day. I mean, if we can turn around with an answer in minutes or an hour, that's what we do, but at the maximum, 1 business day.
Cool, great, thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.
Wes?
Nope.
Bob? Nothing?
I'm good.
Oh, I do have one, I'm sorry. I forgot. I had the pleasure of meeting our new assessor today, Katie, who started on.
Linda.
Linda.
Don't call her Katie, her name is Linda.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know why I said Katie. Well, Linda, I'm sorry.
Her last name is Kadsha, that's what you're thinking.
That's where I got it from. Linda, I apologize, Linda, I'm very sorry, I apologize. I was able to meet.
Maybe she likes the name Katie, ask her.
I was able to meet her today. She's thrilled to be here. She's excited to get going. She's digging her feet in, as they say. And she started back last Monday on 7/6, and she is knee-deep in work, and she's doing a great job from it. We wish you all the best, Linda, and let us know if the select board can support you anymore. Now, that's all I got.
I'm good.
And then we go to Kristen.
You know I got something. No, I really appreciate.
We're not doing ice cream. No, we're not.
Oh, come on. No, I know at least on Hill Road, we now have your speed is whatever it is, and
Yeah.
it flashes. But what it doesn't have is what the speed limit is. So I was wondering if you could ask
Well, I've already-
whomever,
yeah,
or you already did that, all right. Because even I don't know what the speed limit
Well,
is on
because
Hill
there's a
Road.
couple, and actually, the other one is on Flag Hill Road. If you're heading into town on
Yeah.
Flag Hill, it doesn't say what the speed limit is. It says if you're going out of town.
But doesn't it like flash in big red numbers if you're going faster? than
No, it
that?
just tells you what your speed is. You are
Like the one
going
going towards
35.
Idlewild on Central also doesn't have a speed limit, but if you're going
Right.
40, it starts blaring at you.
So,
Well, technically, the speed limit is 25 miles per hour unless otherwise posted.
correct, exactly. And so that, I spoke with Ed Kukler is going to be putting signs up on that. I specifically asked about Flag Hill and about Hill Road. Said, when you're coming in, we need a sign on this side. You got them on this side, but we need them on the other side too.
Okay, perfect. No, I like the ones with the happy face and the sad faces.
Anyways.
Sometimes I speed up just to get a sad face because it makes me laugh.
Okay.
But I won't do that anymore.
Certainly not on Liberty Square.
But
All right.
sometimes I will.
We'll get you a dirt bike.
Thank you.
That's it. Anything else? Nope. Then the last one is the approval of the minutes.
I have reviewed the minutes and I move to approve the minutes
Yes.
as written in the packet.
Thank you so much.
Second.
Seconded for the approval of the minutes. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Move
Anyone?
to adjourn.
Not yet. Hold on, wait.
That's what it says.
I know, wait, no, I gotta get the negative in
He has
first.
to
Hold on.
call that the ayes have.
That is approved for 0. Therefore, now you can say.
Sorry, move to
In a second, and I will have a vote of all to approve to adjourn. Anyone in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, there we go, we are done.
Hey, did you guys see the
Thank you.
update to the select board's page?